Alright, here we are. We are doing a review for the movie Godzilla vs. Kong, which I watched last night. And I will get a few things out of the way here. For the purpose of this review, this is Godzilla. This is King Kong. Yep, that's right. And this. Well, we'll get to this. Motherfucker. Anyways, okay, so this movie is ridiculous beyond what ridiculousness it was supposed to be to begin with. You come here for a giant monster fight. What you ultimately get is you do get a monster fight, and that monster fight occurs in basically 5 rounds. 5. And there's a clear winner for all 5 rounds. Until the ultimate last round where we'll get to that. So the movie starts out with all the problems with these movies is that there's too many people in them and you don't care about them. I honestly couldn't tell you the name of a single character beyond Godzilla and King Kong in this movie. Some of the characters are from previous movies, like they were from the last Godzilla movie. Some of them were. I don't that Millie Bobby Brown, who I don't remember her character's name. I don't remember her fucking father's character's name, the guy from Friday Night Lights and Bloodlines. I don't remember I don't remember his real name, let alone his character's name in the fucking movie. And it's just so stupid. And they introduced a couple of new characters. There's this guy who there's this Mexican guy who runs like a cybernetics company called Apex, and he's clearly the villain of the film. You can tell like right away. It's all the characters are so fucking cliched. You can see who they are from the get-go. There's this guy who works for Apex who's an engineer who's also like this crazy weird twitchy conspiracy theorist guy. He's this big black guy. Don't remember his name either. He doesn't fucking matter. The girl from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown. Don't remember her name. She's just some annoying, bitchy, fucking teenage girl. She's got some fucking, like, I don't know what he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be, like, Maori fucking, buddy who, he's just some fat beta boy who just does whatever. He shows up with his brother's van at one point that he steals. Well, steals, I guess, strong. He just takes without letting his brother know. And then she just, like, takes the keys from him and starts driving. Then she starts driving off without him. It's like, bitch, this is my fucking van. Like, he should have grabbed her by the back of the fucking hair and threw her out of the fucking van. Like, don't ever fucking do that, you dumb fucking bitch. It's just like, but listen, the people aren't the fucking important thing here. The people all suck. All the humans suck. Alexander Skarsgård is in it, and he's playing some weird fucking twitchy professor guy who believes in the theory that the Earth is hollow and filled with its own ecosystem, and that's where all the giant monsters of this world come from. And the Apex guy is paying him because he's built like ships that could travel to the center of the Earth. It's like, I guess when you go to the center of the Earth, it has its own unique ecosystem that, like, it fucks with gravity, so if you try to go through, it'll destroy you, but they've created some weird ships that can navigate that, but the problem is they don't know how to get there. And so the professor guy comes up with the theory. He's like, well, he thinks that all the giant monsters are actually from there, so they have what is known as genetic memory, so that if you just kind of point them in the direction of a path to the center of the Earth, they'll just instinctively know how to get there. I don't know. It makes no sense. So, anyways, I don't even know where to begin with this movie. Okay, well, we start with the fucking conspiracy theorist guy. He's at work. He's trying to steal some information because he believes his bosses are up to something. He's in Pensacola, Florida. That's where the factory is, and it just gets randomly attacked by Godzilla. So everybody now thinks Godzilla is just some threat that's just randomly attacking places. Only Millie Bobby Brown's character thinks that there must be a reason for it, and he's never just attacked for no reason, and blah blah blah. And her mom died for some reason. Her father doesn't seem to fucking care because he's busy with his government organization that deals with monsters and their attacks and all this other shit, and he's just the worst fucking father on earth. It's like, your daughter, you're just leaving your fucking daughter alone. Your mother died in a fucking terrible situation. You think you'd take a minute, maybe deal with that, but I guess not. Fucking asshole. Anyways, Godzilla attacks. Nobody's quite sure why. It's clear from the get-go. Like, the conspiracy theorist guy, he finds some weird, as he's trying to escape, he finds some weird thing that looks like a giant eye. It's clear from the get-go, if you know anything about these monster movies, which I know a little bit, that this company is building Mechagodzilla. Like, that's the thing. The reason Godzilla attacked is because they're building Mechagodzilla, and he just somehow knows for some reason. So then we go to Skull Island, where King Kong is walking around, and they anthropomorphized them, and they made him seem like a guy who's just sort of walking around in the morning and everything. And then there's a little deaf girl running around. This is where we get to terrible parent number 2. Okay, there's a woman doctor who works for the same fucking the organization is called Monarch. I don't know if it's a government organization or a private organization. I was never quite clear on that. It might be a little bit of both. And they basically, it's their job to monitor and contain monsters and deal and respond to their attacks and shit. So Godzilla's like walking around fucking Skull Island, and then there's a little deaf girl who, I don't have a representation for her, but let's just say he's got a little deaf girl, and he's got some weird connection to the little girl. They never address this. This isn't like in every Godzilla movie. Why the fuck is he so obsessed with fucking human women? Now, you could say this time it's weirder because it's a little girl, but it's like, they're all tiny to him. So it's just like, it doesn't really make that big of a fucking difference. What is it with his thing with human women? It's kind of creepy when you think about it. It just makes it creepier that it's a little deaf girl this time. The reason she's deaf becomes important a little later. But if you know anything about apes, it should become apparent right away. She has taught King Kong sign language. It's like, now he's looking at her, and he's holding like a tree that he's just sort of pulled out of the ground, and he tosses the tree just in general at the sky, and it hits like the sky, and you see that this serene nature they're in is actually like a kind of partly a holographic projection, and you see outside that it's actually they're inside a giant dome where they're projecting this nice day, because apparently Skull Island is now constantly under siege by these massive like typhoon storms that they can't explain why. And the reason they're keeping him locked away in there is because if they let him out loose in the wild, Godzilla will find him, and then they'll have to fight because two alphas will just automatically fight each other, thus setting up the plot of the very plot that we've all come here for. Okay? So now that Hollow Earth thing, getting back to that, the professor comes up with the Hollow Earth thing. He's talking to the guy from the Apex company, and they come up with evidence. It's like, I don't know exactly what they need this guy for. They just came to him for some reason, even though they already have everything. They have his fucking books. They have all his fucking research. They have evidence of the Hollow Earth thing, which he also knows. It's like, so I'm not quite sure what they're talking to him for. All he does is tell him, he's like, well, you just need a giant monster to fucking send there. It's just like, so he has to, it's like, so they decide to use Kong. And apparently, since the professor used to work for Monarch, he knows the woman who runs the thing at Skull Island, who's become like the foster mother to this little deaf girl. And he convinces her to take Kong to Antarctica, where they have a cave that'll lead to the center of the Earth. If you follow it, somehow, I guess. Oh shit! Pardon me. So, you're suspending a lot of disbelief here. There's so many different science fiction movies that are being mixed here. Already, Godzilla and King Kong, those two are already together. So you already have those old properties. Now, because of the Hollow Earth concept, we're mixing Journey to the Center of the Earth. So that one's not even involved with these two, and they just threw that shit in here. So yeah. So they want to take him. They want to take Kong to Antarctica. Okay. Next thing you know, we're just on a fucking giant ship, followed by a bunch of military ships. They don't even explain how the hell they got Kong subdued. I don't know if they just waited for him to fall asleep and just fucking shackled him up, or if they drugged him or something. They never quite explain that. He's just on a fucking boat. I guess it's not important. And they brought the little deaf girl too, which seems highly irresponsible. But they're like, well, they need her to keep him under control. It's just like, okay. And then at one point she walks out on the boat and just like goes and communicates with him like by signing, and they all see that like Kong knows sign language. And it's like during a fucking storm out on the fucking open ocean. It's like this is a little deaf girl. I mean, this is all highly irresponsible. Everyone here is so irresponsible. Oh, and the fucking Mexican guy who runs Apex, he sends his daughter to oversee the whole Kong operation, and the only comment I have on her is that she's a smoking hot chick. That's it. She's smoking hot. She has no other value otherwise in this fucking movie. I don't even remember if she had that many lines. I think she has all of like 5 lines in the entire movie. She's just there to be pretty. That's it. That's all she's there for. So yeah. They go through some bullshit. They're intentionally sailing through waters that Godzilla isn't known to swim through, because he just swims through the ocean. You think they would have just like flew him or something, but it doesn't work, because while they're transporting King Kong, here comes Godzilla coming through the fucking water, and they're like, we have to unshackle Kong, so to give him a chance to fight, to defend himself. And then they don't do that. Godzilla's out here, he's destroying a bunch of ships, they're shooting at him, it has no effect. They keep having scenes where Godzilla shows up and they keep having like jets and shit fire shots at him. I kept comparing it to like guys who fire, like dudes with guns who shoot at Superman. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you bothering? You know this isn't going to work. You see it not working, and they keep fucking doing it. Well, anyways, Godzilla shows up, he starts, and they don't unshackle Kong right away, so he actually ends up tipping the boat Kong's on over, and Kong almost drowns, and then Stellan Skarsgård, they're all underwater too, because they're on the same boat, so now they're submerged, and he, like, pulls a lever, and then Kong comes loose, and then Kong is able to be unshackled, and the boat, like, he tips the boat back over the right way, and he gets back on it, and then Godzilla comes out of the water, and that's when the two of them start fighting. So, okay. That's when the two start fighting. So we're finally getting to where we want to go. And this is round one. Round one, and they start, motherfucker. God damn it, my couch sucks. And they start fighting, and like he punches him, and he hits him back, and he tries to like fire breathe him, and he stops him, and they beat on each other a bit. But the problem is that Godzilla has the advantage here, so he takes Kong underwater, and he wraps him around in his tail, and he's like dragging him down just to essentially drown him underwater. And the Navy drops some death charges to like disorient Godzilla. I'm like, how does that not disorient Kong too? But I guess it doesn't, because Kong comes back up out of the water and he lands on one of the boats, and then he just kind of lays back because he's all fucked up, of almost drowning and shit. And then somehow they get the idea, it's like, well, let's just stop the ships. That way it makes it look like that Kong has submitted to Godzilla. I don't know how stopping the ships does that, but apparently it does. And So then Godzilla's just like, okay, I beat you. You're my bitch now. And then he just leaves because it's like an alpha predator type thing. So round one goes to Godzilla. Yay. Um, they then decide to fly Kong the rest of the way. They put him in like a fucking net with a bunch of helicopters and fly him the rest of the way to Antarctica. Why they didn't just do this from the get-go, I have no fucking idea. Now, while that was all happening, remember how I said that the fucking teenage girl, the bitchy little teenage girl there, she got her her fat beta buddy to like fucking bring his brother's van, and then she just took it and completely disrespects this guy in every fucking way. Well, they go meet the conspiracy theorist guy who she's been listening to on the reg, and they talk to him in like a little fucking bar or something, and he starts just disrespecting the fucking boy too. And then they get the idea to break into the now fucked up Apex factory that got fucked up by Godzilla at the beginning. And inside they find that they have, if you watch the movie Skull Island, they have these weird those weird crawling monsters that King Kong fought in those back in the 70s. They have some of those, and they're like transporting them via this like underground railway from Pensacola to fucking Tokyo, which is a ridiculously long travel, especially underground. So they accidentally get in one of these transports. So they end up going from Pensacola to Tokyo. Once again, this girl has a father who just completely fucking ignores her. Like, even going like high speed, that would take a ridiculously long time. He just completely doesn't notice. He's already in Japan, by the way. Just pays no fucking attention to his daughter. The worst fucking parenting on earth in this fucking movie. Okay. So they end up in Japan. When they get to Japan, they find that the reason they're transporting, I think they're called skull diggers, the monsters are, they're using them as test subjects for the Mechagodzilla tests. This is Mechagodzilla. So they're using the Mechagodzilla test. He's fighting these other monsters, and he fucking just annihilates them. He burns them alive. The problem is that once, like, the tests don't last long, because as soon as he kills them, the Mechagodzilla runs out of power. They're using this weird machine where, like, a guy can, like, pilot it by, like, it's almost like a Cerebro type thing where he just, like, puts on a helmet and he connects his mind to the machine and, like, becomes it. So now we're also mixing, like, weird Pacific Rim shit, too. This is another sci-fi movie that's been thrown in. So I guess that makes sense. You know. So yeah, another sci-fi aspect has been added into the movie. That's Pacific Rim. That's now we have King Kong, Godzilla, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Pacific Rim. We're not done yet either, by the way. So they start searching around, and they find out that the way they're built Mechagodzilla is because they're using remember the three-headed monster from the last Godzilla movie, King of the Monsters, that he fought? They're using Ghidorah, that's the three-headed monster. They're using his skulls to control the monster. Like, they use one skull as like the control center. That's where the guy who puts on the helmet, he sits in the one skull, and like there's like wires and shit attached to it, and I guess there's like some weird telepathic connection, and they put the other skull in the Mechagodzilla machine, so that's how he controls it directly. Now, the reason they want to go to the center of the Earth is because it contains what they figure an energy source that they want to harvest. And the reason they want to harvest it is, you guessed it, they need an energy source to power Mechagodzilla continually, so it doesn't keep running out of power. Is nuclear energy not a thing? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so that happens. They finally get Now, meanwhile, back at the Kong story, they finally get Kong to Antarctica. There, they convince him he doesn't want to go into the cave that leads to the center of the earth, but they tell him, it's like, well, there might be other ones of you down there, because this is where you come from, and it's an ecosystem, so there might be more of you down there. So he just quickly starts going. They then follow him in these fucking experimental aircraft. I think they call them heaves or something like that. So they follow him down. He just goes forward. That's all he does. He just goes forward, and he falls down a hole, and he falls through into the center of the earth. Some kind of weird energy field into the center of the earth. It's like, they needed him for this? Also, it happens within minutes. It's like, it's to the center of the earth. It's like, from Antarctica. I don't know. So they follow him down. They get to the center of the earth, and now they're in the center of the earth place where there's the sky and the ground look almost exactly the same, and gravity's fucked up, so you could jump from the sky to the ground, and up becomes down. It's all sorts of fucking crazy looking. This is where the journey to the center of the earth shit comes in. And the entire time you're wondering, how is it daytime in the center of the earth? Where is the light coming from? It's never quite clearly explained there. They get down there, and they instantly right away get attacked by some giant flying snake monsters. King Kong kills them, and that's the end of it. And that is literally the only giant creatures we see in this supposed ecosystem that was supposed to be the origin place of all the giant monsters on Earth. There's nothing else here. There's no other King Kongs, there's no Godzillas, it's just those two things that King Kong kills, and then that's the end of it. So, Kong eventually travels to the center of this place, and then you see there's actually some kind of weird glowing energy source. So I'm guessing that was supposed to be the source of light, kind of like the sun. And he goes inside, and it looks like a structure. There's like a palm print like his. There's a door, and you go inside, there's stairs and a throne, and there's this weird axe that looks like it's made out of one of Godzilla's little spiky fin things that glow up when he's going to breathe fire. It's like a structure, like a civilization was there once, which means now we've come to the next fucking sci-fi reference in this, fucking Planet of the Apes, where they've built a fucking structure, where they have intelligence to build things like people. So he takes the axe thing that he's got, and he starts looking around, and he sees that there's a shape in the ground that looks like the axe. So he puts the axe down into the shape in the ground, and then the ground starts lighting up. He triggers the energy source that they're looking for. Then the Apex chick, she goes, oh, this is what we're looking for, so she starts taking a sample. Now, she's not taking a sample to take it back. She's taking a sample just so she can send information back to her father about it, just so they can copy the sample. I don't even understand how that works, how they just study energy and just okay, now we can copy it. How? That doesn't make any sense. It's like radiation from the center of the earth. It's like an alien form of energy. How the fuck are you just copying it? Nothing about that makes sense. Even in this senseless nonsense, nothing about it makes sense. And when they start, when the scientist people start questioning, what are you doing? You can't just start taking this, and it's just she's only taking a little piece of it. It's not that big a deal. But they start questioning her, and then she freaks out, and she points guns at all their heads, including the little deaf girl. It's that was an extreme reaction, you dumb bitch. You already had guns. They didn't even have guns. They're just yelling. Who gives a shit? You could just say, shut the fuck up. Who cares? It's it's such fucking cliched nonsense. But because of that, King Kong gets pissed off, and then there's these weird bat creatures that fly. Oh yeah, I forgot there were weird bat creatures, and they start attacking people. And oh, right. I forgot. Let's back up a second. While that's happening, in Japan, in Tokyo, Godzilla shows up at the Apex facility there. The Apex facility there is at the top of a giant mountain and is shaped like a pyramid. It's so ridiculous looking. That's where they're keeping Mechagodzilla, and he's come there looking for Mechagodzilla, clearly. So he's about to do that, but when King Kong activated the energy at the center of the earth, somehow Godzilla sensed it, and he uses his energy breath to burn a hole to the center of the earth. So he burns a hole to the center of the earth, and then it comes up. He's burning down, but it somehow comes up to where King Kong is, and he realizes like that hole that just got burned through, and it causes some like destruction where they are, and then they have to try to flee. Like the Apex people try to flee. They try to fly past King Kong, and he just grabs their ship and just destroys it. They try to fly into the back of his head. It's like, why wouldn't you just go around him? You have a ship, you dummies. And Kong destroys their ship, but then he like decides to climb down through the hole because he wants to go fight Godzilla for round 2. And now he's got a special axe for some reason. Yeah. So he's got an axe. And he climbs down. He just he basically like slides down through the hole. He like puts his axe in the fucking wall of the hole and just slides down that way. And then the scientist people from Apex, they have one of the heaves left, so they get in it and they get in and they follow Kong down. Kong, who was sliding down, now somehow comes up through the other side into Japan, not days later, just like moments later, and now he and Godzilla see each other. Now it's round 2, but remember, King Kong's got an axe this time, so he's like fighting Godzilla, and they fuck each other up, and they fuck up, I don't know why I did this. This was such a waste. They fuck up Japan. They fuck up Tokyo. Yeah, they fuck up Tokyo. And, but remember, he's got that axe and it makes a difference. And at one point, he's like, Godzilla's like firing his fire breath at the axe, and it hits the axe directly, but the axe absorbs the energy because it's made out of like one of his species spikes, and they get charged up when he's using his energy. And so like Godzilla or King Kong jumps through the air with the axe over his head, instead of just like not firing at the directly at the axe anymore, and just like, I don't know, lowering his head so he could like hit King Kong in the face and kill him. Godzilla just keeps firing at the axe, and King Kong comes down, and they like the energies clash, and they both get knocked back, but like Godzilla gets knocked back like worse, and he gets knocked out temporarily. So round 2 goes to King Kong. Hooray. Then Godzilla gets back up, and they fight again. And at first, like, Kong has an advantage. He distracts Godzilla and then attacks him from behind. He starts fucking him up. But eventually, Godzilla gets the better of him and just beats the living shit out of him, fucks him up, like scratches him up a bunch, hits him so hard he like ends up like dislocating his shoulder, and then he just pins him to the ground and screams in his face. And King Kong tries to be defiant, but Godzilla just like pounds him back down and just like knows, it's like, you can yell all you want, bitch, I just got you again. And as he walks away, King Kong tries to get back up, but then he just like falls back because he's just all fucked up, and you can see his arms all fucked up. And it's just like, so round 3, Godzilla. Godzilla's back in round 3. So that means Godzilla's won 2. Now, while all this was happening, they copied the energy source and they start up Mechagodzilla. The problem is, once the energy source gets hit into the thing and they try to start up the machine, like the guy who pilots Mechagodzilla warns, he's like, we don't know what, we haven't tested this. We don't know what's going to happen when we use this weird energy source. And he says, just fucking do it. The boss says, just do it. So they do it. And of course, the pilot, his mind just instantly gets fucking burnt out, and Mechagodzilla just starts up on its own. So basically, Ghidorah comes back, but now he's a robot Godzilla. And he right away starts walking towards, while the Apex guy is giving some... They captured the fucking teenage girl and the conspiracy guy and the beta boy, and they fucking... They're like taking them prisoner, and the corporate guy is giving some fucking stupid speech about how they need to destroy Godzilla so they can become, so mankind can be the apex predator again or some shit like that. It's some stupid, nonsensical bullshit. This guy just started a problem for no reason. He riled up Godzilla unnecessarily. And, so yeah, he's giving some speech, and while he's giving some speech, you see like Mechagodzilla start moving on its own in the background and slowly start coming towards him, and everybody starts backing up, and finally he realizes why are you all backing up? He turns around, he looks, and just as Mechagodzilla shoots his fucking energy breath and destroys him, and then Mechagodzilla breaks out of the fucking pyramid they're in, and then he and Godzilla fight. And they have quite a fight. And Mechagodzilla has a bunch of tricks. He doesn't just have energy breath. He also has he also has missiles he can shoot from his arms or from his shoulders. He's got rockets on his back, so he can jump and fly at people. And he just starts. He's got a tail that has a drill blade thing on it. He's got a bunch of cool shit, and he starts fucking Godzilla up. I mean, he just starts just disrespecting the shit out of him. Just straight up, just boom, 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 just fucking his ass up. So now we're in round 4 of this fight, of this giant monster fight. And that round goes to Mechagodzilla. He fucks Godzilla up. Now, while this is happening, Kong's over in the corner. He's dying. He's just beat the fuck up. The little girl can touch the ground, and he can feel that his heart's starting to slow down, that he's dying. They're like, well, they need a way to jumpstart his heart. And they realize that the ship they were flying has a lot of energy, so if they overcharge it, it would release an electric charge that could act as a giant defibrillator. So the fucking weird scientist guy who was cowardly throughout the beginning of the movie, he decides to pilot the ship onto Godzilla's chest, or not, King Kong's chest. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. King Kong's chest, and he lands it on him, and then he shocks his heart, and then he just jumps right back up, just ready to go. And then, remember how I said he had didn't he have a dislocated arm? He did have a dislocated arm, and then he fucking lethal weapons it by just fucking ramming his arm into the fucking side of a building until it's back in place. And then he's all good. It's I don't think that's how a dislocated shoulder works, but it was kind of funny that he just fucking rigs it back into place just by slamming it into a fucking building. And then the little deaf girl convinces him, Godzilla's not your enemy. He's the Mechagodzilla is your enemy. It was funny when they first showed Mechagodzilla, going back a little bit, the one guy goes, the conspiracy theorist guy is it's a robot Godzilla, and then the beta boy is no, it's Mechagodzilla. To which you would answer, be alright, isn't that just kind of semantics? It's mecha, robots, it means the same thing at the end of the day, asshole. Why don't you go back in your stupid van, you fucking fat dildo? Anyway, so back to the fight. They convince King Kong to fight Mechagodzilla, because Mechagodzilla is getting ready. He's fucking King Kong or Godzilla's fighting, trying to fight back, get another round in, but he's getting fucked up and he's about to be killed by Mechagodzilla. And just as Mechagodzilla is about to like fucking lay the fucking, the final blows on Godzilla, King Kong comes back up from behind him and fucking hits him from behind with his axe. And now Godzilla and King Kong are taking on Mechagodzilla at once, and they're fucking tag teaming his ass from both sides. But in Mechagodzilla's defense, he puts up a hell of a good fight. He gets fucked up a bit at first, but then he manages to like fucking knock Godzilla back. Boom. And then he's fucking fighting King Kong, and King Kong's got his axe, but it's not really doing that. For some reason, that's not good enough, so Godzilla shoots some of his fucking radiation fire breath at the axe to charge it up, and somehow that makes King Kong fight harder with it, and he just starts chopping the shit out of Mechagodzilla. Also, while this was going on, the fucking trio of idiots were inside trying to turn off Mechagodzilla from the computer, and they can't come up with the computer. Like, the conspiracy theorist guy is giving the fucking beta boy shit because he can't figure out what the password is. Like, he's just supposed to fucking know. It's like, you can't hack the password. Like, do you not know how that works? It's a fucking major corporation. It's not like you can just fucking break into their system. I'm sure they spent a lot of money on it. And then the fucking beta boy just figures out, he's like, oh, I'll just pour alcohol into the fucking computer and that'll short it out. And somehow that just fucking works. It's like, why didn't you just fucking do that from the get-go? I don't know. The fucking conspiracy theorist guy had like an alcohol in like a gun holster for some fucking reason. I guess it was his wife's. And he said he was only his wife who died. They don't even explain how she died or why or how it relates to the story, really. It's just supposed to be some emotional thing for him, I guess. And then, but the reference for the alcohol is just so they have something to like. It's their fucking little Deus Ex thing that you can just pour into the computer, and it's just like, why? What? It's so dumb. So he does that, and somehow that doesn't actually turn off Mechagodzilla, but it makes it so that his like drill tail that he's about to hit King Kong with stops working, and that's when Kong starts fucking him up with his now energized axe, and he just fucking destroys Mechagodzilla like that. So round five goes to King Kong. So now that means Godzilla and King Kong each won a round, and with the middle round won by Mechagodzilla. So now it's completely dead even. And then Godzilla stands back up and he looks at Kong and he just kind of looks at the axe, and King Kong drops the axe, and then Godzilla just kind of is just like, alright, and he turns around and walks back into the ocean, just kind of like, respect, motherfucker. And it's just like, okay, I guess they're just done. So I guess they're not fighting anymore. They're kind of cool with each other. And then there's like, while that was happening, you see like the little bitchy teenage girl reunites with her father, who's in Japan. I don't even know where this guy was in the fucking movie. He does nothing. And they all just kind of watch Godzilla show King Kong, like, his little, like, alright, homie, whatever. And then just walks off into the ocean. It's like, I guess they're just cool now after trying to kill each other earlier. And then the movie ends super abruptly, where they just show King Kong now, like, they're like studying him, not on Skull Island anymore. He's now at the center of the earth. It's like, are there more of his kind down there? Like, what the hell? He just lives down there now, and they're just there with him. I guess they just seized fucking Apex's ship so they can travel there, and then there's just some like weird musical interlude while he's just like swinging around in the center of the earth, and then that's it. The movie just ends like that. Nothing more. I don't know what more I was expecting, but it was the weirdest thing. It seemed so strange. For a stupid movie, it was a really stupid movie. And it's the same thing the same problem I have with like Transformers and all these other giant monster movies, is there's too much people. There's too much people. I came here for giant monsters. Show me giant monsters. That's what I want to see. I want to see giant monsters fighting each other. That's what I want. So yeah, I would give Godzilla versus Kong uh, 2.5 stars. 1 thumb up. That's it. It's disappointing as shit. I did a reaction video to it. I don't know if I'm going to use that. I might. I haven't thought of it yet. This went longer than I intended. This is ridiculously long. I'm going to have to edit this a bunch. Or a little bit. I want to add some things. Try some effects. Maybe that fucking Godzilla song, but I think it's by the Blue Oyster Cult, I think it is. I don't know if I can use that. There might be copyright issues there, but maybe a little bit. I don't know. We'll think about it. But yeah, this movie sucked. Fuck this movie. There's so few good movies. I would really love to watch a good movie again, but there's so few. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Godzilla vs. King Kong. Not worth it. So yeah. That was my play-by-play of that shitty movie. Till next time.